Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to be back. This is my second official podcast on my channel, Talk from a Woman's Heart. And I am excited to announce that my first goal has been achieved. My first goal was achieving 50 subscribers, and I have 50. Yay! So, for those of you who don't know, that just means you can stream from a different part of the YouTube software. So, very, very excited. That part hasn't been activated yet, but I will be getting there soon as it's activated. So thank you to my number 50, who was my friend, Cara. Thank you, Cara. I am so excited for this channel. So if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Christy, and I am a single mom here in Orange County, California. And I have had this on my heart for a long time to create content for women, also for men, but primarily for women. And I now have the time and the means. My son just turned 18. And by the way, I like to drink tea. So I'll be enjoying my tea with you guys. I call it Tea Time with Christy. And I'm just really excited to have the opportunity to start this channel. And my goal for 2026 is just to do a podcast maybe once a week, maybe every other week, just for the whole year and see where it goes. I have many topics I'm excited to talk about. Have no idea where this will go, if it will stay something more close to home or if I'll, have an opportunity to get out there to more women, but I definitely have a voice and a message to share. And my primary goal is to bring value to you if you're watching this. I personally consume a lot of very interesting content, and I'm excited to contribute to, to those of you. I mean, I know everybody's busy. Some women put on, podcasts in the background as they're running around living their life, being a mom or working jobs. I do a little bit of, or a lot of both. And some seasons of my life, I've had more opportunities to, you know, um, listen to content, and some seasons I don't. But I'm excited to contribute in any way that I can. And my promise to you is to always bring value. So I love talking about what it's like being a woman in, 2020. We're now in 2026. Wow. Welcome to 2026, y'all. We're all in this together. I am 54 years old and have lived a very interesting life, as have most women. Once you kind of hit a certain point, you can look back and realize you've been through a lot of ups and downs and have a lot of life experience to share. And also, I am excited to bring on guests and interview women who have an interesting story to share. And again, my goal is to bring value to you. If you're going to take the time to listen, I want to bring something interesting or new, to the conversation, your life conversation, and help stimulate you to new ways of thinking. Whether you are a stay-at-home mom or a full-time career woman, maybe you're a student, maybe you're married, maybe you're single, maybe you've been through divorce like I have. There's many different paths that our lives can take as women, for sure. So, what I thought I would talk about today, just for a few minutes here, I will keep this fairly short, but I want to talk about 2026. And, what I love to do is I love to do a reflection of the year before. I actually create a Word document, and I do a reflection of the year before, and I call it highlights. So I don't know if you could see when it says highlights of 2025. And then I like to set goals for the new year. And I actually like to break my goals into different categories: financial goals, relationship goals, hobbies and adventure goals, parenting goals, different categories like that. And then I like to look at that list throughout the year, preferably at the beginning of each month. So I am very goal oriented. And a lot of my goals that I achieve, a lot of them I do not. If you're not goal oriented, that's fine too. We're all different. But I did want to, take some time, if you're watching this, to encourage you to reflect. And if you're not a big goals person, or if you just don't have time because you're in the middle of a crazy season in your life, I encourage you to just take a piece of paper and jot down 5 things that you are grateful for or proud of, or that, that blessed you in 2025, and 5 things that you would like to do differently, or goals you'd like to set for 2026. It's amazing what can happen in your life when you take the time to just write things down. And, oh, I see somebody's here. Hello, whoever's watching. Put your name in the chat. You'll be my first chatter. So, but yeah, just, I have learned over the years how important it is to jot down goals. Even if you write something down on a piece of paper and throw that piece of paper away or tuck it away and never look at it again, you'd be amazed what that will do for you. It really is true. And a couple other things I wanted to share, because again, my goal is to always bring value. I want to share a couple of books that I have loved that have meant a lot to me that I encourage. And in fact, if anybody's interested, I can host a book club with this book, but it's a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It is not a very big book. It's very thin and it's easy reading. He's a wonderful writer. Easy reading. Let me see how many pages. It's like 150 pages. Pretty big font. But this book, I read this book probably 15 years ago, completely changed my life. I read it multiple times and I have an ebook of it. I have an audio book of it. I actually have hosted several book clubs reading this book. Very simple concepts. And I'll put in one word, I'll sum up what I love about this book or what it teaches, which is baby steps. So if you are watching this, most women that I know are juggling multiple things, wearing multiple hats, and juggling many different versions of who they are. And I will tell you the secret to any success I've achieved in my life, which believe you me, there's been plenty of things I have not succeeded at, but the things that I have achieved, I can look back and say, it was because I applied the compound effect, which is baby steps every single day. And then occasionally throwing big steps in there too, of course, if and when you have the time and the means. But I know so many people that want to achieve things in their life, maybe with their body or maybe with their career, maybe with their children. I love the fact that I have friends in my life that are, and women who follow me that are hardcore career women. And I know many who are stay-at-home moms and everything in between. And I kind of look at it as a spectrum of being a woman. We can do all of these things. We can do some of these things. Sometimes life decides for us, right? But baby steps has been how I have achieved anything, anywhere from decluttering a closet in my house. And by baby steps, I mean, well, a couple of different things. For me, it means 15 minutes, a 15-minute segment on something. And there was a time in my life over this past year, actually, where I could only do 5 minutes at a time on something. And I called that a win. But it was shocking. It's shocking what you can achieve when you devote a little bit of yourself to the thing that's in your heart. I read a quote once that said something to the effect of, every day take small baby steps towards the desires of your heart. And ultimately, the point of this book is that those start to accumulate. And one day you achieve your big win. And I can say this has proven true for me over and over again. And the second book, speaking of the compound effect that I want to show you, is a book that I wrote called The Empowered Eater. Transform your struggles with food into victories and enjoy lasting food freedom. And let me tell you how I wrote this book in 15-minute chunks over the course of a year. When I was homeschooling my teenage son, I think I was in the middle of grad school at the time. I was self-employed, working my own nutrition business. What else was I doing? Paying my own bills. Wearing multiple hats. And I am working on my second book, and that's how I'm getting it done, is little bits, baby steps. And there's multiple different projects and goals that I have going in my life where I devote maybe 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. I actually have timers. I actually have 2 timers sitting on the table over there as we speak. I have multiple timers that I use to apply the 15-minute secret. So if you need a little kind of boost in your life, if you're feeling a little bit lost, not quite sure, how to move forward in some things, I promise you pick up this book. And like I said, if you're interested in a book club, I'd be happy if I have, 5 to 10 women interested in a book club, I would be happy to host that for free, pretty much. But let me go back to my book. If you are interested in learning more about how to heal your relationship with food, I'm very proud of this book. I considered it to be pretty easy reading. However, I will say that the first couple chapters are pretty easy reading. After that, it does get into a little bit of emotional heart work, a little bit of heart surgery, if you will. However, I've had good feedback and I've had constructive feedback on my book. I did have one friend who read my book, and as a result, she became sober from a few substances that she was involved in, not even food. So that was really exciting to hear. And I've had feedback that people enjoyed my book, but once it came to a little bit of the more of the heart work, a little bit of the deeper thinking and reflecting, they got a little stuck. Because it's easy to kind of put that stuff off when you don't always want to uncover what's underneath. So the good news is I'm working on a workshop that will, somebody asked me if I would create a workshop, which I already kind of had on my bucket list, to bring people together to work through the steps together. So I'm very excited about that. So if you want to know more, put a note in the chat as well, and I will keep that. Really, I just need your email address and I will send you that information. So, and I do want to point out my sponsor, if you can see over here, my sponsor of my podcast is my nutrition company that I work for. And the product on the shelf here is a healthy meal replacement shake that has totally changed my life. I've been drinking it every single day for 20 years. I maybe have skipped like one day in 20 years. So at 54 years old, I'm in the best shape of my life. If you want to know more about that, send me a message. It's no gimmicks. There's no catch. It is full of nutrition. It's phenomenal. I call it my best friend, my BFF. So I would be happy to tell you more about that. And I do have, if you're local to Orange County, I'm actually starting a women's group, probably early February. It will be a personal development and growth group for women to support you if you are working on setting some goals for yourself. It's going to be targeted for women who are local. Right now, it's not going to be on Zoom. But if you are kind of in a transition in your life, maybe you just came out of a relationship, maybe you just graduated from high school, it'll be for all ages. And maybe you're just looking to set some new goals for yourself, achieve some new goals. Maybe you're feeling discouraged or lost. Maybe you've lost yourself somewhere along the way. That has happened to me a few times in my life. Absolutely. Maybe you've never quite found yourself to begin with. So that will be the group. It's going to be very exciting. I'm very excited about it. It'll be an 8-week group. So if you want to know more about that, let me know. But let's talk. If you are watching this and you have, what I'd love to know is if you have reflected on your 2025, what are some of your wins and things that you're proud of, things you achieved, things that maybe just things that happened for you that went well for you in your life in 2025? And then what are some of your challenges? I know a lot of people that had a rough 2025. I've had both. I had both. I had a lot of wins. I had some really heartbreaking, I don't want to call them losses because I would say I went through some challenges for sure that were very, very difficult. But thankfully, no devastating losses per se. I'm choosing to see them as challenges with a glimmer of a win somewhere in there. But I'd love to know for you, what were your top wins? What are your, maybe just one or two of your top wins? What are some of your top challenges that you went through? And share those in the chat if you're willing. And then also let me know what you would like to hear more of on this channel. As a woman, what's the most top of mind for you? What are your challenges right now? Are you dealing with relationship challenges, marriage challenges? Are you dealing with financial challenges? I know a lot of women who are just dealing with kind of time and busy challenges, feeling like they can't quite get on top of everything. Are you a mom in the middle of raising littles? And is it just trying to keep your sanity? What about if you're single? Are you dating? Are you single by choice? I was in what I thought was a lovely relationship last year, for the first official relationship since my divorce 10, 11 years ago. Wow. And that relationship ended with it was quite heartbreaking for me. It did not end well. It was very difficult, and I struggled for months. So I'm currently single. As I shared in my last podcast, have so much love around me, inside of me, surrounding me. I feel so very, very fortunate, but also believe in love and love men. I'm not a male basher or a male hater in any sense of the word. And I hope someday to fall in love again. I do. I believe in true love. I believe in a committed love. I believe in a godly love. I am a Christian woman and do my very best to follow the teachings of the Bible. and to, Jesus Christ is the head of my household. I have a 18-year-old son, and he knows that Jesus is the head of our house. And so do my best to walk in that as much as I can. Thankfully, by God's grace, we're not supposed to be perfect, not expected to be perfect. But I'd love to hear more from all of you. What's on your mind? What would you love to hear more about? I'm going to bring women in to interview them. I have some people lined up. I actually have a gentleman who reached out to me. You might even be watching this. I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you yet. The holidays were a little bit crazy, but love to bring on just people to share their stories, what they've been through, whether, like I said, divorce, single parenting, financial challenges, how they've overcome. I have lots of people in my life who have or are in the middle of overcoming challenges. And I think we all need encouragement. I know a lot of people who are lonely right now. I love watching long form podcasts while I work and do chores and, do things around the house while I commute. And I'll do some of those too. Once I have more, once the channel's a little bit bigger and I have more people with me, I'd love to do more long form. I think a lot of people need encouragement right now. I think a lot of people are lonely right now. I think a lot of people need hope and ways of seeing life in maybe kind of a new lens or a different lens. And I'm happy to contribute to that in whatever way that I can. So with that said, just again, a reminder, if you have never read this book, The Compound Effect, I highly encourage it as a great read for 2026. And my book, The Empowered Eater, if you struggle in your relationship with food, in your relationship with your body. Hello. I have somebody piping in there. Thank you for following. Thank you for watching. This is the beginning of my channel, so it'll I mean, the chat is blowing up right now. I know you can tell. How are you doing out there? You're in California? Do I know you? I don't know if I know you. I can't tell by your username. But we're talking about 2026. And yep, everybody has to start somewhere. Absolutely. Look, you're my number one chatter. New York. Do I know you personally? How do I know you? How did you find me? I'm assuming you're a guy. It says Josh, but I can't really see your picture right now. But oh, you stumbled across my channel. Awesome. Well, what I'm talking about, you can throw in your 2 cents. We're talking about wrapping up 2025 and maybe 1 or 2 wins that you had that you're proud of or things that went well for you. And then 1 or 2 things that a couple of goals you have set for 2026. Some people are very aggressive goal setters and some people are not. Either way, I think, we all have our own personalities. I happen to be an aggressive goal setter. I have friends and family that just don't care about goals, don't set goals. They have they glaze over when I start talking about goals, but that's part of my conversation for starting the new year. So if you want to, if you have time, Josh, at some point, I'd love for you to throw that in the chat. And the other thing I brought up in this video was just what kind of topics would be interesting for you to hear about. I kind of cater to women, but I also love talking with men. And your wins are to keep your nose clean, work hard, and stay healthy. Phenomenal. That's great. Hey, you are literally winning. So many people cannot say that. That's amazing. I love that. You are steps ahead of a lot of people, Absolutely. Staying healthy is my number one, It feels so good to feel good. Feels so good to feel good. And anyway, so I'll let you think about I'd love to hear your goals for 2026, but yeah, part of this podcast as I start to grow is just to find out from people what topics are interesting to them. I was sharing that I love watching long form podcasts. Sometimes I watch some YouTubers that go for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I followed a guy the other day, went for like 9 hours, which I don't think I'll be doing. But I know that for me, having that authentic, connection. Let's see. You said your goal is try to use AI to do a job of 10 people. Okay. Make more money and jog 3 miles a day. Phenomenal. Very good. Yes, AI is quite an interesting topic for sure. For sure. I mean, it'll be so interesting to see what happens. I mean, there's already things happening in the world today. This will not be a political channel per se, but I could start a whole different channel about that topic. But there's, a lot going on in the United States and outside of the United States this morning. But that's great. Phenomenal. So you have goals. So, okay, Josh, I have a question. Do you write down your goals or do you just kind of keep them in your head? That's a very interesting. I've noticed some people, there's two kinds of people who write down their goals and people who don't, and it seems like they don't tend to overlap. So anyway, but yes, if you don't mind sharing my channel, let's see, you use AI to help you set goals into phases. Perfect. I do the same thing. And then you follow them. I actually do the same thing. But before AI I was also obsessively a goal setter, and I had my categories and my subcategories and I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I would like color code things and labels and tabs and, all that good stuff, which is great, but none of that means you're actually going to do anything to get closer to your goals. So very, very cool. And then as far as topics, Josh, are there any topics you'd love to hear about? I'm a single mom. I have a degree in psychology. I've been through marriage, divorce, infertility, raising a son. He's now 18. And my passion is just creating interesting conversations. Like I said, I primarily cater to women, but I tend to do a lot of conversations with men. I find men reach out to me for dating advice. I've done a lot of dating post-divorce. I was divorced when I turned 41. I'm now 54. Well, 42. I've been divorced for about 11 years. So I've done online dating. That I could do hours about my experiences in online dating. Topics you want to talk about. Why do you still follow things and people? Why do you still follow things and people that continuously disappoint us? Huh. I don't know what you mean by that. You have to explain more of that. Follow things. I don't know. Is that you're talking politically? I don't know. You can explain more. I don't know if you're talking about me specifically, but that'll be interesting. We could go down like a rabbit hole there for sure. Is this a political point? For example, in a suffering. Oh, you're suffering. Why do we follow things and people that continuously disappoint us? You're a suffering Mets fan, should have walked away years ago. I think because in our heart, now I don't know, because I haven't followed the Mets for 40 years, but I think in our heart, we just always hope for the best. We want to give the benefit of the doubt. That's probably to relationships, to our favorite teams, you know. um, I think that's part of being a human. We want to believe in the best. We want to love people. I've definitely loved, people who disappointed me, hurt me, you know, betrayed me, confused me. Again, I can't really speak for a sports team so much, but that's a great question. That is a really, that could go down a rabbit hole talking about why where do we put our energy? Where do we put our focus? I have a strong belief. I actually do motivational speaking as well. And in my keynote talk, I talk about, inside of us is this life force, this energy, and we get to choose where we put it every single day from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed. You said you should have left your job years ago, no raises, bad reviews, and no promotion. Well, yeah, that too. I mean, that would be very discouraging. Is that for real? So what do you do? What do you do for a living? Is this real? I'm not trying to laugh at you. Yes, if you've been at your job for years and you have bad reviews and no raises and no promotions. IT. Oh, yes, IT help desk. Yes, I know. I once was married to a man. My husband, my now ex-husband, he was IT help desk for a while, and it was brutal. It was brutal. It was not, there was no glory in that. No. But hopefully this can, kickstart you to be thinking about ways to, I'm sure you've thought about ways to move on up and out. But I can tell you this is one thing I truly believe. I believe that inside of each one of us, we have so many talents and so many gifts. First they said India was taking your job, now AI is taking your job. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of AI talk right now. I mean, we shall see. I use AI, but it's not perfect in any sense of the word, and it will never, ever, ever take the place of a human. It will do a lot of things, but that just means human contact is that much more important. I cannot tell you, Josh, how frustrated I get nowadays when I call any number of the, vendors I use and I get AI and they still can't help me. And I'm practically begging for a person, live person, live person. I'll say it 20 times. Please give me a live person. And when I finally get that live person on the phone, I just want to kiss that person through the phone. So with that said, you know, but but I do truly believe inside of us are talents and gifts and potential and potential for greatness that we have not tapped into. And the time is short. Life goes very, very fast. I was just 25 and now I'm 54. So, whatever you got to do to believe in yourself and take a step forward, take a risk. It's scary. I know it's scary. It's very scary, but taking a risk is getting out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of your comfort zone into what's called the growth zone. Got to do it. That's what I'm doing here. I'm fully aware that I'll have probably one person chatting with me on my on my lives for a while. But it doesn't matter. We all have to start somewhere. So it sounds like you're doing that. You're working on what you want to do, but we all have to go through what's called the cringe stage. The cringe stage is where everything starts. That's how you get to the other side. And it takes being relentless and not giving up when you get discouraged or when things don't go your way. You got to be relentless with your goals. So I'm sure, Josh, you have other talents, you have other gifts you could bring to the world. You can bring value in other ways, multiple different ways. So, yeah, I hope you step into those. I don't know if you saw it earlier, you probably came on after, but I was promoting a book that I love that could help you. It's called The Compound Effect. It's probably $10. You probably buy it used for $8. It's not a very thick book. It completely changed my life. I've read it multiple times. I have the ebook, I have the audio book, and I also have hosted book clubs. If you're interested, if I get enough people, I'll host another book club. But it talks about the importance of baby steps to get you where you want to go a little bit every single day. And that's how I did baby steps to write my book. I wrote this book on how to overcome any struggles you may have with food or substances, or with your body. And it relates to men and to women. I have a friend who got sober from drugs, actually, from reading my book. And my book's not even about that, but I did baby steps. Sometimes 15 minutes a day is all I could do to work on my book, at a time until it got done. So, well, anyway, I am going to wrap up this podcast, and thank you so much, Josh. Please do come back the next time I'll try to go live once a week. And I also would love if you shared. Yeah, thank you for the chat. And I'd love if you shared with anyone that you know. And, it's my goal is to bring motivation and positivity to the conversation, encourage people, have real conversations about life, dating, finances, relationships. But Josh, I'm sure you have a lot to bring to the world, that's there to offer. So don't be discouraged. AI, all that's great, but it just means that the value that humans bring is going to be so much more valuable. It's going to mean so much more. Like I said, any content that I consume right now is real, usually on YouTube. People sitting in their living rooms, just bringing, authenticity to the conversation. So, everybody, anybody watching this, you have something to bring to the world. So I want to encourage you to take that first step. and whatever dreams might be in your heart. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. Please share, please contribute, please apparently like this podcast. Apparently, that really helps with the promotion of it in YouTube world. And I will hopefully see you guys back here soon. My goal will be next week. All right, we'll talk to you soon.